Madeline Petch wrestles with a boar in this movie. The Strangers Chapter 2 was actually pretty fun. Spoiler alert. So, this movie reveals a lot of details that we haven't had in other movies. As you know, we don't know who the strangers are, where they come from. We just know that what they constantly say is that they don't need a reason to be doing these things. They essentially just do it for fun. But this movie changed the game a little bit. They do tell us a little bit about who they are, at least on a couple of characters. And because the story ends in to be continued, then we can expect maybe a few more details on the rest of the crew coming up. But I think it was really funny how they also included some things that were kind of unexpected, but I'm not sure that they all did it in like a great way. For example, that scene, it's a CGI boar, in other words, like a big pig, and I don't think that that was like necessary in the movie. That whole wrestling scene that she does with it was a little just out of place for me. But there were other things like the childhood that some of those strangers had. I thought that was very cool. That was like a neat detail to include. Also, how, as you may have seen in the trailer, she is in doubt of whether a group of four strangers that she encounters are the strangers or they're just strangers. And I think that that gives the movie a nice touch because you don't know who they are, who is who, and so it keeps you on the edge of your seat a little bit. That was nice. Another detail that the movie had that I didn't appreciate as much was how the sheriff is supposed to just be very negligent. And at some point, a woman is about to say, the sheriff is not going to help you because, and then boom, she gets unalived. So she doesn't get to tell her story as to why she thinks the sheriff is not being helpful. I thought that was going to be addressed more by the end of the movie, or there was going to be some other kind of hint given about it, but there isn't. So hopefully they'll address that later on because I feel like that was a nice detail to include, but it just didn't really pan out in any way. So yeah, that was a little bit of a miss for me. But I am curious to see how they're going to continue this story and if it's going to continue to be entertaining and if it's all going to make sense in the end. So let me know what you think down in the comments.